We're live, and it's the season 2 finale of Breaking Bad, Albuquerque, ABQ, and what a finale it was. But
Yeah.
before we get into that, it's Bryan Cranston's birthday. The man that made Walter White happen was Bryan Cranston. Happy birthday to Bryan Cranston. You probably not even watching this, Bryan Cranston, so happy birthday. I don't care. But what a season finale it was. Ellen should be coming in a minute, hopefully, because I can't wait to get her thoughts on this. But we open up with the teddy bear, and we all was wondering, what is this teddy bear about? And then at the end of the show, we got blown away. I mean, when I first watched this, the 2 body bags in the beginning of the episode, I thought Skyler and Walt Jr. was dead. I did. I don't know, but what was your what was you think, Henry?
Well, we kept seeing on various episodes of season 2 this pink teddy bear. We kept seeing elements of what appeared to be 2 bodies being covered up.
Yeah.
We saw objects laying by the pool in the evidence bags.
We saw some glasses, which we thought was Walter's glasses.
Yeah.
But it turns out it wasn't.
Right, yeah. And
I mean,
we kept we kept wondering, what is going on here? Why are they showing these images? But
I'm like I said, when I saw those 2 body bags, I thought Skyler and Walt Jr. was dead.
Oh man!
But then in the show they show Skyler and Walt Jr. and I'm like, Skyler's still alive. Here comes Ellen.
Here she comes.
Hey Ellen, can you hear me?
Ellen?
And if you can't hear us, you might have to drop out.
Hello?
Let's go ahead and continue and see if Ellen can.
It's happening again.
Hey Ellen, can you hear me? Yeah. All right. So the body bags and the black and white. I love the black and white. How they do the black and white and they just show the pink on the bear. That was fantastic.
I know. Yeah.
That was a great visual.
I read that Vince Gilligan kind of got the inspiration from the movie Schindler's List.
Ooh.
If you've ever seen the movie Schindler's List, there's a scene. It's mostly shot in black and white, except for a little girl who's wearing a pink dress.
Ah.
And they only show the pink of her dress, and that's all. But everything else is in black and white.
Wow.
So
you know what? I'm going to have to start watching some of these movies so that I can actually get the references to what Vince Gilligan is having in store for us. Hey, Ellen, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Ellen, are you there?
I can't hear you. Shoot. I can't hear you guys.
It might be your headphones. What about Henry?
Hello?
I'm going to have to try this again. Sorry.
That's okay.
But, yeah, see, I read that's where Vince Gilligan got his inspiration from, for having everything in black and white except for the teddy bear.
Yeah. We see that teddy bear in a mural on Jane's wall. Did you notice that?
Yes.
Yeah, that was terrific. I think it might be foreshadowing. I hope it is.
Foreshadowing. I think it has to do with Gus. Remember, because the teddy bear had half a face. And we get into what happened.
And we'll get to that in season 4. But season 4, the episode before Face Off, they foreshadowed Gus's death. I don't know if you caught this, but we'll get to that. All right, Ellen's back. Ellen.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Hey!
Yes.
She can hear us.
Great. That's great. We're just talking about the opening scenes of 737 down over ABQ. And Henry brought up... Henry, you go ahead. telling me found out about the black and white.
The reason I read that the reason that Vince Gilligan wanted shot in black and white, except for the teddy bear, was inspired by the movie Schindler's List. Schindler's List was mostly shot in black and white, except for there was this one scene with a little girl wearing a pink dress. So
I didn't remember that.
Vince Gilligan wanted to kind of replicate that a little bit, so he had everything else shot in black and white except for the pink teddy bear.
We see a lot more about what is ultimately going to happen too than we do in the last scene. You know, it's kind of clear it's a plane crash because of the NTSB bands, you know. And the fact that he was looking up in the air.
Yeah. Right.
Butterfly effect.
Yeah. I saw the interview. I saw the interview with Vince Gilligan where he talked about the butterfly effect.
The Heisenberg effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what did you thought about the body bags? I mean, when I first saw the body bags, I thought somebody's dead. It's Walt Jr. or Skyler or somebody was dead.
Oh, yeah. See, that was what they did to us. I try to watch it like I'm doing it for the first time, but I've seen these episodes over and over and over, and I know them so well. And I'm trying to remember what I thought about that, and I think, that fear was probably there. They could have been in the driveway.
Yeah.
You know, hit by something. But it's interesting because this is like Walt's inadvertent consequences. He really doesn't mean for this stuff to happen, but it is happening, and it's like it's climaxed here. It's reached out really far, and the reason it's a teddy bear is because that's a child, and what's worse than your deeds ended up killing a child. And he's gonna feel this, but it's very kind of quiet.
Yeah.
But this is gonna gnaw at him for a while.
Yeah, I think the main question that everybody was asking during this episode was, who caused the plane crash? Was it Jane's dad's fault? Was it Walt's fault?
Well, that's the thing. It's the butterfly effect. What set this whole chain off? And I think we're supposed to see it as, well, if Walt hadn't pushed her on her back and then refused to turn her over when she was choking, then maybe it's his fault. Because they did a lot about focusing on Donald's grief, her father's grief. And, it just really, really focused on him, from that phone call to a dead girl, he doesn't know it yet, the voicemail, to showing up, to walking out after the body like it was already a funeral, not looking at Jesse at all, just gravitating, and then picking out the dress. One-sided phone conversation, too. We're assuming that it's the ex-wife, the mother, but we don't have to hear, we hear just him, and he could, for all means, like, he could be talking to himself, really, in this scene. And they really focus a lot on him, and when he goes back to work, I think we know.
Yeah.
I think we've pretty much put it together, and we're just waiting to see it.
Yeah, and I was telling Shane that, what happens in the incidents that happen on this episode have far-reaching consequences, and they really figure into the following seasons.
How far did you get so far? Are you still 5.5?
Halfway through season 5.
Wow.
At least we can talk. At least we can talk up to halfway to season 5 now.
Yeah, I have to say, I watched 509 just because you were there, and I'm like, I'm watching it, and I mean, the best is yet to come. It's just so amazing.
It is.
It was like 2 months of my heart being in my stomach all the time over a TV show.
The sad part is that he knows what happens to Walter White, but he doesn't know how. Is that correct?
Well, by now, right? There's already been this scene. I hope so. Where, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Where Walt and Junior are watching Scarface.
Yes.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, an interesting little factoid about the movie Scarface. Mark Margolis, who played Hector, and Stephen Bauer, who played Don Eladio, were both in Scarface.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, they were in it.
And so was Tuco's grandmother.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Abuelita?
I think so, yeah. That biznatch. Oh, God, Tuco, I'm sorry.
But they say, is it Walt who says, everybody dies in this movie, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, shit. Is that setting us up? So that's what 5B?
Is that what they... Could that be foreshadowing? Foreshadowing?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You don't know. It's a very hard to predict show, which is great.
Yeah.
Which is great.
It is. Which is why we love it.
One thing we see... Go ahead, Ellen.
Oh, I was just going to point out that when the father's in her room, you see the mural on the wall.
The teddy bear. Yeah.
The teddy bear.
Yeah, falling from the sky.
From the sky, yeah. I like that. I mean, I didn't catch that the first time, but the second time when I watched it, I caught that.
Anyway,
but
one
Hank,
thing we see what was that about Hank?
Hank's on the case. We see more of the icebreaker case that Hank has, and we see a little foreshadowing on the wanted poster where Hank was holding up the picture of Walter and had wanted over top of it.
He was?
You know the jar for the collection?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That scene where they show wanted and a picture of Walter, and then they moved it. There's a little foreshadowing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, on this episode, I mean, we see that Jesse's trying to figure out, how he's going to explain this to the cops.
Yeah.
So he calls in a favor. He better call Saul, and he does. And Saul sends over. We see Mike for the first time. Mike Ehrmantraut, the cleaner, the fixer.
Which is a great
I don't think Jesse was calling for that help.
It was Walter.
He called Walt.
Oh, it was Walt.
Yeah, Walt called.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And Jesse he was in shock and just went through the motions.
Mm-hmm. Well, he blames himself really for it.
Yeah, he did.
Oh yeah, he has no idea what really happened.
And there was, interestingly enough, skipping ahead a little bit, there was an episode in season 3 where Jesse kept dialing Jane's number and kept getting her message.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the one that you hear when the father calls on his way over, right before he sees, an ambulance, and they're not really moving fast. So, yeah. He just knew. He knew right then and there. He knew she was gone. He had, that one more day.
Mm-hmm. And I like how they introduced
Mike. Got my timeline wrong last week. I was saying, not by much, but I was saying that Holly was born on the 16th. She wasn't. She's probably born more around the 9th. Because, remember, she was early?
Yeah.
And so, she's born, and the post-op appointment, which is this is the day the planes are going to crash. The post-op appointment, because we go, this is a 6-week period in this episode. So, close. But, yeah, Holly's 7 weeks old. And it's been 6 weeks since the surgery.
Right. Walt has his surgery.
And you know what I found interesting was that Walt grew the goatee after he met Jane's dad.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, not the first time he's taken on a characteristic. At
Yeah.
this point, we've seen at least cutting the crust off his sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yes,
Yeah.
with the Crazy
Crazy
Eight.
Eight.
Because
Yeah.
Crazy Eight liked the sandwiches that way, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Influential people, they get inside of him, even if he doesn't really know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you notice it's somebody was saying, one of my friends was saying, that baby in Breaking Bad is only used when it's convenient, when there's a point. The baby's not there just because the baby's there,
Mm-hmm.
which, for the most part. And when Walt is talking Jesse through what to do to calm down, and he knows who to call, he's holding Holly. There's a purpose for that.
Yeah.
It's like he's got his little girl, and then there's this man, and he doesn't know this yet, but there's this man that he met in a bar, and because of Walt's actions, that girl, his daughter, is dead.
Mm-hmm.
He's still got his.
Yeah.
And then it just gets even worse from there. And he'll see on the news when he sees who the pilot is.
Mm-hmm.
That's really gonna. He doesn't even need that to feel guilty, because I think he's gonna feel guilty about doing this to Jesse, making Jesse this upset. Anyway, but that really does it. 2 planes crash. What? 200 and almost like closer to the 300
Yeah.
death
Well,
toll.
we're hearing the death toll in the next episode where Walt is in the gymnasium and making that big speech, which I thought was great.
And his
Oh
daughter.
yeah, I know. That the speech at the school.
Yeah.
Oh.
His daughter is in that scene. She's one of the students.
That's right.
Yeah.
Bryan Cranston's real life daughter. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And today's his birthday, by the way.
Yeah.
Shane and I already wished him happy birthday. Yeah, today's Bryan Cranston's birthday. Yeah.
Yay! Happy birthday, Brian.
Now, we find out that Gus is involved with the DEA, and at this
fun
point,
run.
At this point, he doesn't trust Walt, and this makes it even more so. Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because this is where he finds out he's got a brother-in-law in the DEA.
Mm-hmm.
But you would think that, I don't know, it seems like a big oversight for somebody so careful.
Yeah. You would think that he would get Mike to look into Walt's background or something.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe it's... Yeah, I tend to think that maybe Gus has to know about, the DEA brother-in-law. He's got Mike on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I guess he didn't know that he had a timeline, an expiration date, and that maybe that changed the dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And here was somebody that at some point you really weren't going to be able to threaten with death, because they were going to beat you to the punch.
Yeah.
Plus, he's desperate. He's got X amount of time to make X amount of money, so you're powerful in luring him, and you've got leverage. But...
And one thing that happens in this episode, Walt lets something slip while he was going under for the surgery.
Yeah.
Skyler asks him a seemingly innocent question about his cell phone, and Walt says, "Which one?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that plane crash represents something. That plane crash represents Skyler's and Walt's marriage falling apart.
Yeah, 2 planes clashing into each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of his Heisenberg effect, his butterfly effect. But remember, that's so, let's let this suffice as my Skyler report. She's put everything behind her, and then he says that. And by the time, which is like 6 weeks later, And I love that scene, by the way. Her acting, that's one of my favorite scenes that Anna Gunn has ever done. When she goes down that laundry list. And it's not just the second cell phone. She's got this arsenal.
Yeah.
And the way she delivers it, it's like with this really muted anger that kind of comes out in her, like almost breathlessness as she talks. And she's sometimes actually like seductive about it. Like, you know, I want this marriage to work. And it's like, it's a fool me once, fool me twice
so
thing.
long. I mean, it's so much a woman can handle, really.
She put it all behind her. Like she said, that fugue state. I had to believe that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Because she wanted to. She didn't want to think that Walt was up to something bad, and she knew it had to be bad at this point. And it's that fool me once, fool me twice. She's too smart. And it's not like she's walking out of there gleefully. This is really rattled her. And he can't even defend himself. He tries. He's a bad liar to begin with, but she just pelted him with so much that she found out.
Yeah.
Especially that part where she says that she called his mom. Wow. Yeah,
that's
that
when
was.
she really starts almost trembling, and and like almost breathlessly speaking to him, and he just, I think, stops talking at some point because he doesn't know what to say.
Of course, she tells him, pack your things, get out. Which he does. I mean, but we do see in season 3 that he comes back.
And season 3 is a turning point for you, Henry, right? You're no longer a Skyler supporter?
No.
Oh, no, you're holding that against her.
Well, not just that, but I mean, just the fact that she had the affair with Ted, she became more manipulative. I mean, look what she did. Look what she did to get the car wash.
Yeah. She was pretty savvy, but she figured out ways of doing things without spilling blood. And Walt was blowing shit up and poisoning kids and, running people over, shoot people in the head. Walt was pretty busy. And see, where the affair is concerned, she had declared herself done with the marriage. She was done. She was going to she's filing for divorce.
But she never actually files for divorce, though.
Well,
no, that's right. She doesn't.
She doesn't file it. What I mean is she initiates it, and she gives her these papers to sign. At this point, where at IFT, and she thinks, because she's not really. This is where Skyler is usually smarter than this, but she figures they're separated. He's out of the house, and he's able to say, well, I live here and there's no legal documents. Well, the police say that for him. He's back. And it's only then that she does it. She goes for it. Like, okay, you won't leave. You don't agree. You won't get out. Then I'm going to do something to prove to you I'm done with the marriage. She had declared herself done. And she went right home and told him.
We'll get into that. Yeah, it's coming up. It's like, what, episode 3?
Just a side note, Walt tried to seduce Carmen, but it didn't it didn't work.
He
did.
He
afterward. Yeah. So no, okay. Onward.
And that caused his indefinite sabbatical from his teaching position.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No more classroom.
Which turned out to be a good thing in the end. Maybe. I don't know.
Found interesting before where they finally he's he's got the car wash. And his old boss is, packing things up, getting ready to leave. He's the dollar. Walt
Henry's breaking up. Me.
Yeah, Henry, you're breaking up on us.
Breaks the frame, takes the dollar, buys a
It's Gail
soda with
singing that song.
Yeah, Henry, you're just breaking up on us.
Let me refresh.
No, you sound good. Oh.
Yeah, he's going to drop out and come back in.
Okay. He sounded good just then.
All right, so what a season finale it was. One of the best season finales I've ever seen.
Yeah, and the fact that it ends with that's the big thing of the season.
Mm-hmm.
This plane crash. Things that make you think.
Yeah.
It's really about how far-reaching this has got. He lets one girl die, and he doesn't even know that's his fault yet. So, like you said, it's more symbolic of the marriage at that point. It's gonna get interesting, but he jumped off the Skyler wagon.
I love the shot of the teddy bear coming down. They have that great camera angle, and it's just coming down. That was great.
And that turnaround where he turns to his burnt side. Foreshadowing.
Yep.
I'm sure Henry has caught that already.
I don't know if he's there. Hey, Henry, you there? Henry.
Ground control to Major Tom.
Let's see. Am I sounding any better?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, like I was saying, what we see in season 4 when Walt buys the car wash, he's the former owner is packing everything up, and he's about to take the first dollar he earned, which is in the frame, and Walt says, "No, everything as is."
Mm-hmm.
And he breaks that frame. He takes that dollar out, spends it on a soda, puts it in the soda machine. I mean, that's just cold.
I like that. That was funny.
That was just cold-hearted, man. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, well, Bogdan had been a jerk to him,
Those eyebrows.
Yeah, Saul talked about the eyebrows.
And the actor who plays Bogdan is actually a chemist. Is a chemist, or at least degree in chemistry.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
He's the one with a chemistry background. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they consulted actual chemists for the show.
They consulted the DEA too, and they taught them how to make meth.
Mm-hmm.
So, realistically, this show is like what, 99% realistic?
Yeah.
As pure as Heisenberg's meth.
Exactly. But I think this is pretty much it for the season 2 finale.
It was phenomenal too.
Henry, you came in late. What did you think about season 2 and season 1 as a whole?
Oh man, I think both of them were truly just an excellent way to start the series.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of showing the development of this character.
Yeah.
Showing Walter White going from this meek, mild-mannered, school teacher who's barely making ends meet, to all of a sudden, he's involved in drugs. he didn't kill Jane, but they would call that depraved indifference.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they
Yeah.
call that.
Yeah.
Because he could have helped her. I mean, but he chose not to because she knew too much about him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's why he didn't help her.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jane, she needed to go because she knew too much. And that's what happens to
And I
everybody on
think
this show. If they know
I,
too much, they die.
yeah, but and maybe Walt wasn't really aware of this, but Jesse really toned her down. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, I'm not the kind of guy who rolls, and by extension, neither are you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she has some respect for that. I mean, she said it just to get him to give them the money. After that, she wasn't going to do it. I mean, it could
Yeah.
get Jesse in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think the
really,
main reason why Walt let her die, and I think everybody said this, is that she was going to kill Jesse. They was going to overdose on heroin.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, introducing somebody to heroin is one of the worst things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
nobody needs to be introduced to that.
No.
Nobody, especially when you're 10 years into a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in and out of rehab, relapsing, going back to rehab, and you know how hard it is and what it does to you. That's the worst thing you can possibly do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Oh, and Better Call Saul this week. Very interesting episode.
What a cliffhanger.
Oh my God!
With Mike?
With Mike.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, okay. Now, that woman, I forget her name, begins with a J, right? It's his daughter-in-law. It has got to be his daughter-in-law.
I kept on saying this in the groups and everything. It has to tie into half measures. Mike's half measure speech. It's got to tie in. I think the woman that died in Mike's half measure speech has to be his daughter, or the guy that killed her has to be Mike's son.
Well, she's alive, so that couldn't be her. Well, unless it's going to happen later. Okay, it's going to happen later. But he's dead. His son is dead.
Mike's son is dead?
They say something about that.
Because
the guys that come back from Philly, they say something about the dead son. And they name him Matt, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the previews, at least, or maybe even, it's a blur to me now. So either in the episode or in next week's previews, she's mentioning Maddie. So to me, she has got to be his dead son's wife, mother of Kaylee. That's what I'm thinking. We didn't know about. We knew that he had a granddaughter.
Yeah.
And we knew that she was living with her mother. We never heard any mention of daddy, just mom.
Yeah.
And we saw that she and Mike didn't really speak. They just handed off the kid.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Kaylee in Breaking Bad, when we see her, is about 10. So it fits.
Yeah. So,
I think that's who. But people are like, it's his daughter. And I'm like, no, the brother, the son is mentioned. He's the dad of the grandchild. That's so, okay. We'll see if I win Monday night.
We'll talk about it next Saturday.
Yeah, and then what about Chuck? I mean, poor Chuck. Oh man.
Yeah, I like that hospital scene. That hospital scene was fantastic.
Yeah, it was. The same hospital. That was the same hospital.
In Breaking Bad.
Yes. The same nursing home, too. We're going to get into that. The same nursing home.
Yep.
Same diner.
The same diner.
Yeah. I mean, there were all kinds of nods to Breaking Bad. Mike's car. Mike's car. The Chrysler.
Yep.
Another nod to Breaking Bad.
And the nurse that came in
Mm-hmm.
It's the same nurse.
When Brock was sick.
Mm-hmm.
She must have
Yeah.
moved to the pediatric ICU because that's not where she was when we saw her.
No.
But interesting that you saw how they tested him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they pull that trick on him, and they just turn on the bed. And Jimmy knew that Chuck is probably making all this up. I think Jimmy knows that.
It's not making it up. It's more
Psychological?
it's being deluded into thinking that's it. I mean, mind over matter. Your
Mm-hmm.
brain's really powerful, and if you believe in something strongly enough, you will have those symptoms. You will be sick.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's a controversy about whether this is real or not. And so now we find out it is psychosomatic.
Mm-hmm.
It is paranoia. So now it's time to convince him, but you can't. You can't let him know you're exposing him to any sort of electricity
Mm-hmm.
because he
That's when
will
he'd freak
react
out.
badly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to do it behind his back,
Yeah.
and he probably won't believe anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had to taser Chuck. I mean, he's inside the house quoting all kinds of laws to them and stuff like that, and statutes and all that.
Yeah.
The
I
lawyer
wonder if
came
we're going
right
to see
out.
that. I wonder if we're going to see that as the flashback. Him getting tasered. We might
I
see
don't
that.
know. Yeah.
Well, when shown us, they should have shown us then.
I mean, apparently now Jimmy wants to have him committed.
Yeah, that's interesting. After Hamlin talks to him, he's like, I'm not getting him committed. Hamlin talks to him, you know what, I'm going to get Chuck committed.
But then
And
he says, no, then he says there's no way he's doing it.
mm-hmm.
He said it to Hamlin just to shut Hamlin up for the moment, I think. And then he walked away and said something, I think, to himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no way I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Well,
I
him
think
getting committed might explain why Chuck is never mentioned in Breaking Bad.
we got a lot of time to play with, though, too.
Yeah.
So stuff can happen.
Mm-hmm.
A lot happened in 2 years on Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
So we got
Yeah,
some
it
time.
does.
Mm-hmm. I think everybody's favorite scene in Alpine Shepherd Boy has to be the talking toilet.
Ah!
And we gotta. I mean, it's not the episode without bringing that up. And Big Ricky and his Big Ricky box.
Oh God, yeah, that guy wanted to secede and become his own nation and all that.
See, that wasn't even trying to be like subtle humor or black humor. That was just, that was like an SNL skit stuck in an episode of TV.
And Saul was going to do it too until he found out the fake money wasn't even real.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Oh, the fake money was awesome. Oh, that was so awesome. Because I'm thinking, wow, maybe this is where he gets things going.
Mm-hmm.
Sets himself up and buys like every billboard and bench in Albuquerque, and and then the guy comes out because he's gonna secede and he's already got his own currency. Oh my God.
And then he found the jackpot of some old woman who had $140. So he turns this into a money-making scam. Need a will, call McGill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elder law.
I love that. Need a will, call McGill.
This is the slogan before Better Call Saul, and we found out how he gets all those awesome slogans.
Yeah, he likes to rhyme.
Yeah, right now he's into elder law. He's like representing the elderly.
He's
starting
Matlock.
out kind of, yeah. He was watching Matlock. Remember?
Yes.
That's gonna get old fast. No pun intended. They're just too slow, and they want to hook you into conversations you don't have time for. You can't just go in and get them to do stuff and go.
And
No.
what about the Jello? And what about the Jello cups with Jimmy's picture on the bottom of them? Need a Will? Call McGill.
Jello cups. Oh yeah, that's right.
The title of the show was going to be called Jello, but then there was like some kind of controversy. They couldn't.
Oh, probably because it's a name brand. Damn it.
They
That's
should have
too
just said
bad.
Alpine Shepherd Boy. Have a little hyphen.
Alpine Shepherd Boy.
O. A little hyphen and an O. Then that's how you get all the end titles for O. But I'm not Vince Gilligan. I'm not that smart.
What stupid company doesn't want to get free advertising?
I mean, Cinnabon. I'm sure Cinnabon got a whole lot of.
Cinnabon loved it. They were all over that.
And I'm sure we're going to find out. I know I'm going to find out more about that on Breaking Bad as far as how he wound up in Nebraska.
Yes, you will. It is the episode before the season finale. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
The series finale, you mean?
Series finale, yeah. And Ozymandias. Watch out for Ozymandias.
Ozymandias is the probably best in as far as intensity. It almost could have served as a finale, but it's good that it didn't. Really good.
Yeah.
In fact, in the last Emmy Awards, which were the last Emmy Awards Breaking Bad were in, right? It was just, I think, this past fall. 2 episodes were up against each other, and it was Vince Gilligan for Felina, and is it Maura?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I forgot the last name.
Wally Beckett, I think her name is.
Yeah.
For Ozymandias, I hope I got the right writer. She actually got it. She beat Vince Gilligan. And who wrote the finale, and the finale is spectacular. Everything is. Every episode is.
It is.
But you're in for a ride. Like, yeah, put your tray in the upright position.
Hold on. It's a roller coaster. The last 8. And we was talking about before the show how Hank was sitting on the toilet. He's already seen this. And I'm like, maybe they should have got that talking toilet for Hank.
Yeah, so he wouldn't have to read. And everything would be okay. But, there's another... Having that book is actually kind of a hallmark of a psychopath. It's a trophy. That's the kind of thing you don't keep. If you're smart, you burn that thing.
Yeah.
But he kept it as a trophy.
Burn that bitch! That's what Jesse would say.
No, Walt was so proud of it and kept it in plain. I mean, like, or maybe it's sometimes they say you want to get caught. Like when he gets drunk and says he thinks that Heisenberg's still out there. Skyler's like.
I have a theory about that too. It's a good theory. I think that I don't want to go too much into it because we'd be talking about it. But, I don't care. We can talk about it again. It's my show. But I think what happened is that Gretchen and Elliot, they took Walter's idea and used it as their own. So that's why Walter wants to kill anybody that knows his formula for making meth, because it's his own meth. It's his own brand.
And he will not have somebody steal it again. That's
exactly.
Right. He's, very protective of that.
Yeah.
That's a very good theory, because I think it's clear that Gretchen and Elliot would not have gotten where they are without him.
Exactly.
They'd be teaching high school chemistry.
And we see this in the season where when they flash back to where they was buying the house, and Walt was like, well, we need something bigger. He's thinking, we're going to get big money off of this gray matter. And it turns out they're not.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then season 3. Oh, season 3 gets really crazy.
You know what? I'm not sure, though, about that. I got to back up a second. Because because we know that Walt walked away because he was with Gretchen, and for some reason he decided it was over and left her, and then he just left Gretchen and Elliot to the company, and he took a really small amount of money that we'll find out later, and that was it. It was like a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
He sells his interest in that company for $5,000, and later finds out that the business is worth billions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think because they say something about in that scene when they're looking at the house for the first time, they say something about where he works, and it's not gray matter. It's something else. He probably did have a really good job, but then the economy went to hell eventually because this is 16 years before.
Yeah.
And now we're at a time where the economy is like, and it affected him, and this is why he's teaching high school chemistry and working in a car wash when we first meet him. Mm-hmm. The work isn't there.
I hope we find out more about Gretchen and Elliot and Better Call Saul. I think that'd be a great
he certainly wouldn't be their lawyer. That would be interesting. But it's safe to say that, just by the way they are willing to give, mm-hmm. that's not out of the kindness of their hearts. That's guilt. They feel like they owe him. They're not necessarily just gonna, mm-hmm. they're not gonna keep in touch every so often, ask him if he'd like some money. But in this case, they felt guilty about it.
You know what we forgot? The news scene with Walt Jr. and the family.
Oh, and how much... Oh, and he's such a decent guy. Ow. And he hates that, of course. He hates the whole thing.
Yeah.
And Marie just...
And he
went for it.
He basically found an excuse of using Holly, saying the baby's disturbed by the dinging sound. Holly wasn't disturbed. He was.
Oh, definitely.
You can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's not thinking, not that there's a moral way to be a criminal, but there's a smart way to be a criminal. Mm-hmm. And Saul knows the smart way. Like, duh, the site, this is exactly what you need.
Mm-hmm.
We just funnel the money right through there, and it's.
But Walt is thinking that all these other people is getting credit for it. He's not. He's not getting credit for all that hard-earned money that he made. Other people are.
Which is a bad criminal, which is just bad business anyway. You don't get emotionally involved.
Yeah.
You use your rational mind, and Heisenberg is plagued by Walt's irrational, emotional stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Heisenberg fucks up because of Walt.
Exactly. You saw him. He couldn't control Heisenberg when he was drunk. He just came right out. And then
that pride thing with the drunk in front of. Oh God, no, that couldn't be in him. He's just. I know. Trust me. I know. Students. He's just copying somebody else, and I think your Heisenberg might still be out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That was insane.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, we get. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Just remember the Skyler's face. Like, really?
Yeah. And then we get into season 3. We have the twins, the brothers,
the cousins.
who were the cousins of Tuco, and the nephews of Hector.
Yep.
And man, do they! Oh my God,
they're great. I like them. Those boots. As soon as that camera pan on them boots, I thought something badass is going to happen.
And neither of them were actors.
Mm-hmm.
It was like one of them was working on set, and they approached him, and then he mentioned he had a brother, and they're like, great. And that one scene they have to do where they set that explosion, that truck.
Mm-hmm.
they really wanted them. They're like, if you can do this in one take, that'd be great. Because this is, it's not easy to keep setting that up. And
Yeah.
you have to do it so you don't flinch. Like, nothing happened. And they did. They're seriously badass. Yeah.
I know. The fact that they hardly say anything was really amazing.
Yeah. I mean,
very
actions
silent.
Louder than words, really.
Yeah. I agree.
It's almost like, mental telepathy. It's a code with just, it's almost like for every situation there is a reaction. And you know instinctively what that's supposed to be, and you will agree on what that's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But they weren't even actors, and they did that scene with the explosion. It was really behind them. This is not CGI. That they were there, and they did not flinch. They were great.
Yeah, they were terrific.
And what happens with Hank in season 3? Oh man, when they confront him. Yeah,
that was a great. I like that scene.
So Henry, do you think the seasons get better? Each one is better than the last?
Yes, I do. And the storytelling is so intricate and so, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. It's
realistic?
So layered. It's layered. Everything is layered. And everything builds and builds and builds and builds. And it's just the way Vince Gilligan does it is just phenomenal. It's incredible.
Speaking of Vince Gilligan, did you catch Battle Creek last week?
I missed it. I
had it on, and I sort of ADD'd my way through it, so I didn't really catch it so much. I have to try again, because...
Oh, I saw it. I'm not going to give anything away, but you can tell it was written by Vince Gilligan. You
think so?
Yeah, you can tell it was written by him. I mean, just by the camera shots, the directing, all of that, you can tell it was written by him.
One thing I'm going to have to look for is that episode of The X-Files, Drive.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which was written by Vince Gilligan, starred Bryan Cranston.
Yep.
And it was that was what caused the executives at AMC to realize that Bryan Cranston was the right guy to play Walter White.
Well, Vince
they only knew him
Yeah,
they only knew him as Hal on Malcolm in the Middle. So they didn't want a goofy. They didn't want Walter White to be a goofy character. They thought that Bryan Cranston couldn't play dramatic. Oh God, were they wrong?
They were. I've heard that they wanted who was that?
They wanted Matthew Broderick.
Matthew Broderick, yeah.
Or I can't remember who the other actor was.
I can't remember, but I can't picture Matthew Broderick doing that.
No.
No, they got the right guy for the job. And it was Vince who really wanted him. And I was listening, there's this video, and I forget where it was, but I posted it somewhere. It's an interview with Bryan Cranston, I think, after the show's he's all done doing the show. And there was concern that, you can't take this goofy Malcolm in the Middle guy and put him in this role. But Vince really wanted him, and Bryan Cranston really wanted to do it. I'm just glad they agreed.
Yeah.
Man, he could.
I can't picture anybody else doing that role. Maybe Terry O'Quinn. But
you can picture a lot of people might do a pretty good job, but it's just perfect with him. It's just perfect. And then Aaron Paul, the temporary guy, who's just going to be there for a little while. It's just, the both of them get to be all over the map.
Yeah.
Emotionally. A lot of characters are on this just even keel, and they never really... But these guys are all over the place. And they really have to... tap into a lot of things and really, really put out for it, and they love it.
Yeah.
It's It's variety.
That season 4 finale when Walt says, "I won."
Oh, I loved it.
I was so pissed the first time and since when he said that. I mean, the look on his face. It was like he was playing some kind of a game and he won. Not that this was like a life or death situation. His whole family was threatened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you expect relief.
Mm-hmm.
Not like, yay me, and that bugged me. And I remember watching this episode, my friend and I that watched together, we look and there's like 10 minutes left after the whole face-off part, that scene, and you're like, what are they gonna do in the last 10 minutes to top that?
Yeah.
Because that was just so unbelievably unexpected and just crazy. And that Lily of the Valley at the end.
Man. Oh.
I'm already pissed.
He had that plant. Because remember, Jesse mentioned that. Jesse mentioned. It was because of this plant. Because supposedly Brock had eaten the berries off that plant.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I didn't really make a connection at first about the Lily of the Valley, but I thought, oh my God, he didn't.
Well, it foreshadowed. When he was spinning the gun around. He was spinning the gun around. It foreshadowed Lily of the Valley.
But did we know? It would take a real diehard.
We didn't know at the time.
Yeah. Somebody knew that was Lily of the Valley and looked it up and said, oh my God, it could be poisonous. This is great.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody actually did. There's a video out there, and it's called, I think, The Case for Walt Poisoning Brock. And it was done by a fan. He put all these clips together, the whole reason, all the reasons that he thought he did it. And it was right before that episode aired, Face Off aired. And the guy ended up being right, and for all the right reasons. The cues were there, but they're so subtle because they're serving another purpose. They're furthering a story.
Yeah.
And yet, they're dropping clues, and you'd have to obsess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. So anyway, talk about season 4. So when are you going to start 509? I'm just interested in knowing.
Later tonight.
Yeah.
So you're going to watch all of them tonight?
Maybe not tonight. I mean, probably over the next few days. I mean,
so
I'll be finished. I'll be finished with it by the next weekend. I guarantee.
Well, you're in for a ride.
Overall, I have to say 5B is I think my favorite. I love it all.
Yep.
And there are random episodes here and there. By the way, Shotgun, Henry, I asked you about it before you got there. When Mike picks up Jesse and takes him out on pickups, and it's all a big test.
Mm-hmm.
They make a whole episode out of it, and they really didn't have to.
Yeah.
But there was just so many. It was just so great. The interaction between these two, Jesse and his boredom and the stuff that he did, and his, I don't care attitude.
He was driving Mike crazy too, because Mike pulled over eventually. He's like, look, kid, I don't like this any more than you do, but shut up.
You
just
are not the guy.
You are not the guy. Yeah.
I had a guy, but you're not the guy.
You're not the guy.
But I was telling
the interaction between Jesse and Mike was absolutely amazing, and I think eventually Mike came to respect Jesse.
Oh, they do, yeah. By now how much they respect each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I was telling Henry before the show that season 3 and 4 is a chess game between Gus and Walt, and the ending of season 4 was checkmate.
Yeah, I think it was.
Checkmate? Yeah, that's check. Check and game. Walt won.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the fact that Walt was able to figure out, to rig the bomb to Hector's bell on his wheelchair.
No, I was an idiot right there before I forgot. I was thinking checkmate was when you got you tied. I'm sorry. Simple moment over.
So next week is the beginning of season 3. No Mas.
No Mas. Oh my God. It's gonna be wild. I mean, season 3 is when the wild ride really starts.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I think the wild ride starts in the first minute of the first episode. Because all of a sudden, you see this beautiful landscape, the pants falling down out of the sky, and then, boom, the RV, and chaos.
Yeah.
And doesn't Walt stand there in his tidy whities holding the gun before the opening credit? Yeah,
then you see the camera shot going into the gun, and that's the opening credits.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I just it was yeah, it's funny. I actually watched it was the quote alternate ending to Breaking Bad.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
It was Bryan Cranston and Jane Kasmerick as Hal and Lois, and they're in the bed, and Bryan Cranston as Hal says, the only thing that the scariest thing is that but the only consistent thing about me being a meth dealer was me being in my underwear.
If Breaking Bad ended on that episode, on that scene, I would have been happy. I think that would have been great.
The series, really?
Yeah, I think that would have been great if it would have ended like that. But I'm glad it ended the way it did.
Too cheesy for a show that fantastic.
Maybe they should have done something at the season finale, the series finale. Have it cut to black and then have it open with that alternative ending. This is a little joke or something.
I mean, it was funny though. I mean, we saw the Heisenberg hat on the chair at the end.
Yeah.
I gotta get me one of those hats.
Well, they're pretty expensive, but I think you can get like a knockoff about $20. You can actually get a knockoff for $20. You can get the teddy bear for $20 too.
And a tan windbreaker.
Oh yeah.
Yes, gotta have that.
Yes. You notice when Walt? Have you ever noticed when Walt walks, he doesn't really walk upright. He kind of walks hunched over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I read that the reason
going on in his life, at the time,
Yeah.
I read that the reason that he walked like that is because he felt as if the weight of the world was on his shoulders.
Interesting.
Yeah, and he also, in the beginning, he's like, he's felt emasculated for a long time, and it's a feeling that's coming directly from, the fact that he is so qualified to make good money, at least enough to have what they need, and he's not, and it's not his fault necessarily. There's only, at this point, so many good jobs, only so many things you can do. You do what you can do. Not everybody gets to do what they love. Some people manage, but, and it's sad that he would think that you're working 2 jobs, you're doing your damnedest, you're not sitting on your butt. Why should you feel inferior? Why should you feel like a pussy or a wuss,
Yeah.
Because we're measured in dollars, and his family's got rusty hot water.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Ellen, I was telling Shane. I was telling Shane about that season 5 episode. Was it episode 5? Dead Freight. Oh,
yeah,
that was a fun. Where they robbed the train. That was amazing.
That was great.
And okay, I don't like I'm always against, the idea that this is a good business to be in to begin with, but I do get carried away too. And that's one of those where when they high five, I'm like mentally high fiving too.
Mm-hmm.
And then, whew, and then you just end with such a awful feeling in the pit of your stomach.
I know what happened to that kid. Oh man,
jerk your emotions around.
I was like, oh my god, I can't believe he did that. He does something even worse too. He does something even worse. Todd does something even worse than killing the kid. If you know what I mean, Ellen.
Something worse than that.
I don't know if you can catch my.
I can't really think of much worse.
Well, just even is worse. I mean, he did it right in front of somebody. Henry, close your ears.
You can message me later. Oh. I am not really sure what you're thinking of.
He knocks on the door. He says,
"Oh
hey.
shit! Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Henry's dying to know what we're talking about.
I'm not sure that was.
I'll find out. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was any worse. But
it's up there. It's up there.
It's when you compare motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then maybe worse. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
I was thinking about Saul's bodyguard, Huel. That big guy, Huel.
I hope we see Huel.
He always sees
Better Call Saul. We have.
He has a little bit of narcolepsy where he'll sleep standing up.
Yeah. And yeah, big as he is, apparently smooth as silk. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, Henry. Sticky fingers and
Oh yeah.
You don't want to meet him on a subway. You want to
Hold on to your wallet.
Yeah.
Or
your cigarettes.
All right, so I think we did the finale, and we talked even more.
I know.
But it's okay. It's okay. We have to talk about it.
We're out of control. This is just,
That's okay. I'm glad.
Next week, season 3. Next week, season 3.
No Moss.
Oh, no Moss.
Yeah.
Go Skyler.
We're gonna see a lot of the actions of the end of season 2. We're gonna really play out season 3.
Yeah.
Big time.
And then some.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, I still have 2 whole seasons where I don't dislike Walt yet. 2 whole seasons, 3 and 4, until the very end of 4. You know, I keep sympathizing with him because they keep him in that zone.
Yeah.
Although I completely understand Skyler at the same time. And it's not till the end of the season. It's not till he says, "I won," and I was like, "Oh, you're such a."
Okay. This is rated MA in a way. Breaking Bad's MA, so we have to be.
I didn't really get it up there. I didn't. Okay.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm okay with it.
I'll do it for you.
I live in Massachusetts. We're known for being like this. Like we have Tourette's.
But
we're mass.
But that cliffhanger for Better Call Saul, I can't wait to Monday night. I know how you guys felt, waiting each week. What's going to happen next? Mike, it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think Mike's going to tug at our heart. He kept a lot of stuff really close. Didn't share a lot.
And it goes back to what you mentioned about him being forced into retirement.
Yeah. Something went down in Philly, and apparently has something to do with his son.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's that half measures thing.
Really?
But we'll see.
I'm going to go. I'm sticking with half measures. I'm thinking it's got to be. It's got to tie
All right,
in
it's
somehow.
Pinky swear.
It's got to be. It's got to be. I'm going to be absolutely ecstatic if it is, and I'm going to be disappointed if it isn't. But the result anyway is going to be great.
Well, I promise to pat you on the back online if you're right.
What do you think, Henry?
I thought it was pretty cool. I don't know. I mean, it may tie into the half measures thing.
It
Then
makes
again,
sense.
they maybe.
But
I think it does. Yeah.
But then you got Vince Gilligan that's throwing curveballs left and right at us. So
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Well, all I hear is, okay, his son apparently, I don't know if this was the episode of the previews for next week, his son was a cop and was killed. So what does Mike do? Does he just let the system take care of it, or does Mike take care of things? That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, like I said, it might tie into half measures by Mike doing a half measure with the domestic violence. His son gets killed. He doesn't do a half measure. He does a full measure.
Right? Actually, yeah. And then we'd both be right.
Exactly.
All right, guys.
All right, so we'll see you here next week for No Moss.
Okay, guys. You have a good week. Have fun, Henry. Oh, God, I envy you.